£400,000 a year. That is how much I am going to increase the turnover of my commercial cleaning business to in 2024. Stay tuned and I'm going to show you exactly how. So, you may know 7 months ago I acquired a commercial cleaning business that does about £180,000 in turnover and about 40 to 45 grand a year in net profit. Pretty healthy margins. Had 11 cleaners when I purchased it, about 21 contracts. We're pretty much the same for contracts, got a few more, but we're at about 14 to 15 cleaners, which means my risk is a lot more spread out. Now these first few 6-7 months have been learning the business, pushing for some new business, not getting as much as I wanted to, hiring a lot more cleaners to ensure that the current clients are covered equally and evenly without a headache and having to use agencies. I've used some shit agencies, I'll tell you that. Now the focus is massively on growing it. Not growing to sell it, but growing to scale it and then to outsource it. At one point this year, there will be a manager of some kind, there will be a scheduler, there will be a recruiter, there will be a person who is taking my role and getting me out the business. Now, in order to do that, they have to get paid. And in order to pay them, I could pay them at the current profits, but really, I need to make their position. I need to create their position in monetary terms, right? If they're going to be paid 25k a year, I need to add 25k a year minimum to the net profit so that we're at the same net position, but obviously still a lot better. Now that 400,000 comes from, well, it's 180 currently, so let's double it. But that's a silly number. Let's just round it up and make it 400. Now, I think it's very possible to double it because it's in this cleaning business, it's quite straightforward. You need more clients and then more cleaners to cover it. And within that, if you can do some facilities management, if you can do some upselling of toilet rolls, hand towels, air fresheners, female sanitary units, whatever, that then maximizes the LTV, the lifetime value of that client. Now, currently the CAC, the customer acquisition cost, is pretty high. Emails haven't been working, so I've now hired a company to do cold calling for me. So we're currently at 20 hours a month. I think that's going to increase, but my minimum every month that I want to be doing is cold calling. So far, not very good. It's been December and January, so I get it, but I think it'll have more of an impact than the emails. I'm also going to switch out my emails a little bit and do some little bit more personalization and reaching out to certain things, because since I've taken over, we've started doing domestic cleans, primarily for estate agents, so for tenancy cleans. We are working with one of Hertfordshire's largest estate agents at the moment doing tenancy cleans. At this point, we've done about 3 or 4. We only started last week, so that's been pretty good. And looking at the income from that and the amount of work that goes into it, I don't think it's going to be a massive part of the business because commercial just makes sense. It makes sense to stick to commercial and to get contracts that are 12 months, 24 months, same place, same day, same hours, same cleaner. It's just a lot easier than, hey, here's a work request. Can you quote for it? Can you go and do it? Can you pick the keys up? Can you, the margins drop. And so in order to get to that 400,000, it involves thoughts like that, which is, well, how are we going to get there? Is it domestic? Is it commercial? Well, let me tell you my goals. So I want to be securing at least 2 new commercial clients a month. I want to be securing at least 4 new domestic clients a month. And domestic clients and commercial can overlap if it's an estate agency, for example. I also want to be hiring a certain number of cleaners a month. Now, I haven't put a number to this just because that will vary depending on the demand. So 2 new commercial clients a month. Now, commercial clients can add anywhere from £300 a month until you name it, anything. So, we could be looking at, on average, ideally I want to be getting contracts at about 1,000 each. Those would be quite large sites and be quite often, but those are actually easier to hire for. When you try and get 2-3 hours with a cleaner, they say, well, I've got a full-time job, and it's kind of like, no, you need to give me the full 30 hours and then I can quit and then I can fully be here, or, I can't work evenings because of it, so it's very difficult hiring for those kind of smaller jobs, like very, very difficult. And certain areas are harder. Where the business is located in Northamptonshire, it's been a lot easier, measurably easier to hire cleaners than it has been in Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire's been near on impossible. Don't know what it is. I think it's just the type of areas, perhaps the income, where people are from. I don't know. There's something in these areas. So those are my main goals for 2024 in cleaning business. Now, again, I do this with my mentees and my e-learners. How on earth am I going to get to these things? You need to think about that all the time. How are you going from X to Y? It's great to have these goals and say, yep, 2 commercial clients a month. And then what? How are we getting there? What are the steps to that? So, of course, in order to get there needs to be a certain level of activity, which then drips down or goes down the funnel into business being secured. So I want to be doing at least 10 commercial quotes per month. Now that is a lot. That's more than 2 a week potentially. This is going to be a difficult one. I just know it is from my experience so far, but I need to set the bar high because I'm serious about growing this business. So I will be pushing, and which is why my property goals you would have seen a lot smaller, massively to get these 10 quotes a week. And I put a value to this one, which is interesting, but I put new domestic cleans to the value of £2,000. Now, domestic cleans can be anywhere from £50 for a small little clean to £200 for a really, really, filthy end of kind of tenancy or builder's clean at the end of something. So, we're talking, 20, maybe 10 new domestic cleans a month. Got about 15 leads. It wasn't bad. It was fairly cheap with a very basic advert. I emailed them all. None of them replied. So, strange one there, but it does clearly show you that leads can be obtained with some cost, but with ease. A lot easier than it is to get commercial client leads, for sure. People are always looking for cleaners. So the next step of doing that, I'm in the process right now, is to register for Check a Trade, Trust a Trade, or one of these websites to get more business. So actually, you need to get back in contact with them and say, what's the best deal you got for me, right? Probably not Check a Trade. They're really expensive, and I think Trust a Trade is probably better for the kind of thing we're doing. But let's see, it's on the list, it will be done, okay? So I'll keep you updated on what I'm doing there. I've put a minimum of 20 hours of cold calls a month. I'm testing it at the moment with this company. If it proves fruitful, if it's going well, then that will probably double to 40 hours a month. Because at the end of the day, the more activity I'm putting on the front end, the more it will convert to that back end. And that's what matters. It's what we're putting in here. What are my inputs? The output is sort of, I suppose, the most important and is what's measured. But if the input is not there, you're not going to achieve anything. So I need to make sure that we're hitting these numbers. And I will keep sending email campaigns. I need to just extend the sequence on them so they just keep happening every single month, because you never know when the right time is to contact someone. And it might seem crazy, every 2 weeks you can get an email from me for the rest of the year. It's true. If you don't reply, then I'm going to keep emailing. And again, this is that input to output. So these are my goals for the cleaning business. Now, the reason I'm telling you these is, one, to hopefully inspire you to do things. Now, if I wasn't buying the food business, by the way, this goal wouldn't be double it, it'd probably be to triple it. But because I am the person doing this and I'm way more passionate and personally interested in the food business, I've sort of set it at doubling it. And I also know the difficulty with hiring. You know me, in 3 months and 6 months, I will be reviewing these goals, assessing what's happened. I've got weekly KPI meetings in anyway with myself, and I do it with my mentees anyway. I'm going to be assessing these. If they're not where they should be, or they're too easy, then something's going to change. Usually the input's required, usually how I'm doing it. But if we're hitting so close to 500,000, like 6 months, and that was my goal for the end of the year, then I'm gonna have to change it, right? Have a little celebration, but I'm gonna have to then change it. It doesn't make sense to keep it the same. So those are my goals, those are my targets. I'm sharing them with you so that you can be inspired, so that you can see how my mind works and how I process things, and also why it's so important to set KPIs for yourself, and also how I set them. Because what's measured can be improved, and what can be improved is exactly what we're focusing on here. We want to constantly be evolving and improving and adapting, not being stagnant and not wondering, oh, this month I had, 4 commercial quotes instead of 10. Why was that? I don't know. I did everything No, I need to look at my spreadsheet and say, I did 20 hours of calls, but the emails went out. But then what was the feedback from the calls? Oh, okay, that was that. Or, why haven't there been the right number of, it's all about working it out and figuring it out. That is the way that you're going to learn. That is the way that you're going to evolve, and you're going to be better, and your businesses are going to be better. Do me a favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or on something like that, then leave me a review. It really helps. And you might have found me because the algorithm showed you me because of a review. So, speak soon.